This is cancer. This is cannabis oil. This is cancer on cannabis oil. Any questions?
I'd have questions too if I was you. My name is David Triplett, and I cured my skin cancer using cannabis oil.
And so did he. And he. And she. And she as well. And this guy too. They all healed themselves using cannabis oil, just like I did. This is my story. In 2009, I was diagnosed with skin cancer. The doctor gave me a prescription for a chemotherapy cream. He told me to put it on my face and neck. He also suggested I wait until after the holidays, because there could be some redness. I did a Google search and found some photojournals of people who had used the cream. This is just some of what I found. The photos, as you can see, are quite alarming. After seeing the results of what the chemotherapy cream can do, I decided to look into alternatives. A friend of mine had sent me Christian Loret's video called Run from the Cure about Rick Simpson curing cancer using cannabis oil, so I decided to start there. After I watched Run from the Cure, I began to do some searches. I was quite surprised at the amount of information I was able to find. These are a few of the videos I found.
Breast cancer kills more than 41,000 American women every year. Researchers in the San Francisco lab are working to shrink that number, and they're doing it with an unusual weapon, marijuana.
It's not just THC. These trichomes contain CBD, another valuable chemical.
We're fascinated by this stuff.
And what we found is that this compound called cannabidiol was particularly effective at inhibiting aggressive breast cancer.
I discovered that despite my training in medicine and science, I had been brainwashed that this substance, marijuana, that in fact it's remarkably non-toxic. There's never been a death from it. And I went from there, and that started me on a long interest in researching this substance.
Marijuana may actually help reduce the risk of certain types of cancer. A new Brown University study found long-term pot users are 62% less likely to develop head and neck cancers. This includes cancers of the mouth, tongue, nose, sinus, throat, and lymph nodes.
Breast cancer, prostate cancer, pheochromocytoma, lymphoma, leukemia, skin cancer, a whole variety of cancers that in experimental situations, meaning in tissue culture or in animal models, you can in fact show that cannabinoids kill these cancers.
Into its bloodstream and was carried to its brain. There it met the cannabinoid receptor evolved so many millions of years earlier in the humble sea squirt. And it just so happened to fit, like a key in a lock.
Researchers suggest chemicals found in pot called cannabinoids can have an anti-tumor effect.
A lot of people are quite excited about the ability of these cannabinoids to kill cancer cells.
After a few more searches and watching a few more videos, I decided it was time to get myself some cannabis oil. Because I live in California, I was able to go to one of the dispensaries and pick up some cannabis oil. It's also referred to as hash oil or honey oil. I used the oil for 3 to 4 weeks before I saw any results. Then the results were dramatic. Not only was the oil healing my nose, but it was bringing cancer to the surface that I wasn't even aware was there. Here again are the photos of my cancer being healed with cannabis extract. As you just saw for yourself, the cancer was pulled to the surface and healed. Here's another view of my nose being healed. In this side view, you can clearly see the cancer being pulled to the surface and healed. The greenish brown stuff you see is the oil. Once I realized that the cannabis oil cured my cancer, I began to ask myself questions. Why hadn't my doctor heard about this? Why hadn't I heard about this? And if cannabis cures cancer, why would it be illegal? As I did more research, I began to realize it's about profit and politics.
But unless big pharmaceutical companies are behind these things, they may go nowhere. Is that it?
Well, actually, Lloyd, I've had two other stories where drugs have shown great promise in the preclinical phase, and because they were orphan drugs and no one picked up, nobody could get the patent on it, they've gone nowhere. Drug companies won't be interested in funding studies for a drug that won't make them a profit.
This drug has great promise, so why aren't companies and institutions lining up to get behind it?
Because the drug isn't patented. If someone invests in researching it, they're not going to make a profit because anyone can make it. It costs, some say, about $100 million to get a new drug through all the phases of testing onto the market. So it will be interesting to see if this old drug actually gets a new chance at becoming an anti-cancer medication.
Typically get this eureka kind of feeling, and it's actually the most exciting thing scientists can get.
I'm not going to go into the history and politics of cannabis. That's already been done. Cannabis used to be a very common medication until it was taken from us. Here are a few examples of antique cannabis medications. Cannabis compounds, tinctures, tablets, pills and mixtures, asthma medicines, cures for consumption, cough syrups, veterinary medicine, homeopathic remedies, corn cures, bunion plasters, and foot creams. These were all once readily available to anybody who needed them. This is a bottle of bronchospasm tablets. One of its main ingredients was cannabis indica. These are some cannabis indica tablets. This is a cannabis indica cough syrup. This is a bottle of cannabis pills. Here are two bottles of cannabis extract, one in powder form, one in fluid form. This is a colic and bloat compound for horses and cattle. This is a corn cure. Its main ingredients were cannabis indica. This one is a bunion plaster. These are two boxes of dried cannabis. This is another bottle of cannabis pills. This is a cannabis sativa tincture. This medicine was taken away from us, and now people are needlessly dying. It's ridiculous that this medicine isn't available to cancer patients or others who need it. Please do everything within your power to get the word out that cannabis indeed cures cancer. Since 1975, the National Cancer Institute has known that cannabis shrinks tumors. Since then, there have been multiple studies published that show the same results. After a great deal of pressure, the National Cancer Institute now recognizes the anti-tumor effects of cannabis. has become clear to me that because of politics and money, a cancer cure has been kept from us, and people are needlessly dying. This is the cover of a 1969 issue of Life magazine. The cannabis debate has been going on for far too long. Both the science and evidence are undebatable. It's been a few years since I cured my cancer using cannabis oil. Since then, dispensaries all over California are being shut down. Sick people are being forced once again to get their medicine underground and on the streets. The time has come to learn the facts about cannabis and stop this ridiculous war and accept the truth. Even the California Medical Association wants cannabis legalized to pave the way for more research. If you've lost somebody from cancer, the chances are their life could have been saved if the oil was available to them. Please share this information with every doctor, researcher, and news outlet you can think of.
All we're trying to do is heal ourselves. There shouldn't be a law against that.